have on the show today Matt Castillo, formerly of Matt and the Herdsman, and he's going to be releasing his third album toward the end of the year. His first national release. Now he's going to have an EP coming out us in April, so lots going on with Matt Castillo. Matt, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Cool,
Happy
cool.
Tuesday.
Happy Tuesday. Man, so your album, How the River Flows, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about that. Is that the EP that you're releasing next?
It's part of the EP, yes. So how the river flows is just based on my maturity as a artist and songwriter, just kind of really diving into who I really want to be, and it kind of just takes time to mature into your craft, I guess, if that's easy to say. You just don't learn right off the first album. So a lot of it was trial and error, but I was happy to find some really good songwriters that believed in me and believed in my vision and what I wanted to do. And they kind of saw my producer, Roger Brown. He's been a great mentor to me. He's kind of taken a step back and from an outside perspective, as artists, when we're diving in, we're just so hyper focused on one certain thing. We think that is working. And as a producer, they kind of see you in different ways that of artists, like a multidimensional. Like you're not just one type of artist, Matt. You could be all of this, and you can encompass it into being in an album. And so he was able to do that, help me take a step back and realize, hey, I could do a lot more as an artist and songwriting if I could just take a chance and take a risk. So that's what I did. So over the 2.5 years, we wrote songs that maybe I didn't think it was in me, but it just came out of me, and it just kind of helping somebody develop you into the artist that they can see you as, and they believe in you. And we kind of just I'm an overthinker. Like I overthink things left and right, and I get in my own head. And sometimes you just got to have somebody from an outside and say, hey dude, you're thinking about it too much. Just sit back and, take it all in. So we're going to bring in an EP first, kind of give a taste of what the whole album is going to sound like in 6 songs. And then in November, we're going to just release the other 6 and put it all together and make it an album. And we hope that it kills.
Yeah. Well, let me tell you that so you're working with some great songwriters from Nashville area. But I do want to talk about this because I read this, that it kind of resembled the Bakersfield sound. Was that a title for the sound that you wanted to create, or did you start noticing that, or did other people tell you, hey, this has got a little bit of a Bakersfield sound to it?
It really started out at a songwriter retreat, my buddy Drew Fish's retreat, and we were passing around guitars, and I wrote this song with David Banning called "She Left Everything That Didn't Matter Anymore," and the way I was singing it just naturally. And one of the engineers that was going to be on my project, Jeff Sylvie, told Roger, my producer, he goes, hey man, that Matt really has that Dwight Yoakam feel, that I can just hear that Bakersfield just in him. And my producer Rod Brown says, yeah, I think that's what we're going to kind of aim for, in the sense that it's him. It's a natural him. It's not a Randy Rogers thing. It's not a George Strait thing. It's not a Garth Brooks. It's just what naturally bled out of me in that song and in that deal. So when we went into songwriting and all that stuff, we were kind of aiming for that, but we weren't just saying focus solely on that Bakersfield sound. We just so happened that Leaving Brownsville Tonight, my new single, really showcases that. And I'm also happy that Say It is totally different from Leaving Brownsville, and How the River Flows is going to be totally different from all the other songs. And we really, and that was our goal, to have every song be itself and pay attention and let it be its own baby. Producer, that's what you kind of, that's I guess the job, as to really showcase this artist that he can do multiple things, and Bakersfield is one of them. And I hope I do it justice and do it proud.
Yeah, it was a really cool sound, especially after the new single "Leaving Brownsville." Man, I dug it right off the bat. Just the drum part
Nice.
of it was a little
Yeah.
different, and of course your vocals, everything that came in, really cool sound. So I'm anxious to hear the album. Let me ask you, what's your favorite song from the album, or do you already have a baby, or are they all your babies?
Man, it's hard because they all have their little moments. I think Sade is a favorite to play live because we've had it out for so long, over this whole pandemic, and people listening to it. So when they actually go out and see the show, they're literally into the song. It's so catchy. It's just in your face. It's one of my favorites to play live. Leaving Brownsville Tonight it's a great song, and it's a favorite of mine, that in a sense it's so different, and I love different. I love I wouldn't say going against the grain, but I love the fact that it's just way different, left field, right field kind of thing. Um, but off this EP and this album, I have a couple of babies in there. One of them is called "Cause He's a Cowboy." That one's a little personal to me. And Leaving Browns, I mean, I'm sorry, How the River Flows is a favorite one of mine, only because it's a family song. It's like based off, my grandpa and my uncle that helped raise me, and just my upbringing of just being in South Texas, and just, hey, this is how the river flows, man. It's just life. And you know you take all these life lessons that as a little kid you grow up and you try to implement them into the real world. And when you find out it works, it helps you. You just like, man, when you get lost, you just kind of go to your grandparents. And I still got my grandparent, my aunt, my grandma and grandpa in Austin, so every time that I can go to Austin and go see them, I just get this weird nostalgic feeling like, hey, I was a little kid running through these wooden floors. I remember hearing this and hearing that. I remember my grandpa telling me this story sitting on the porch. It's just how the river flows. It's just one of those feelings. But I have so many favorites. I think this is the one album that I'm proud to say, like, every song I remember how it was written. I remember where I was. I remember everything about every song and why it gave me goosebumps, why I fell in love with it, that kind of thing. And it's rare, but it took time. Everything that we did on this album just took a lot of time and patience and waiting. I've never waited so long to put something out. It was a weird feeling, like it's just want to get up and go. And so for a while I thought my career was kind of stagnant, but really it was just a lot of prep work. And I owe that to my producer, and just telling me to slow down, wait, look, it's going to pay off. I promise. Just slow down, take it easy, breathe, and it was wild, man, but it was cool.
The 2020 was definitely a year to kind of sit back and take a look at everything. Some people did a lot of analyzations of themselves and what they were doing and creating. And I personally feel that 2021 is going to be an awesome year for music, so I'm pretty excited about it. Now,
Thanks.
you're known for your live shows. Now, during the pandemic, did you had to take a little bit of a pause? Are you back at the live shows?
Yeah, we're back on it. We're back at it. We kicked off the beginning of the year 2021 in College Station. First headline show, first single release show ever, and we had a great time. We had a good amount of people that came out to see my show, and it was just give them all you got. And then this Thursday we have an opening opportunity with Flatland Gallery in College Station. First time at Hurricane Harry's, debuting there on the stage. So, we're gonna hype them up for the fans for Flatland, and we hope that our music complements each other, which I think it is. Two Hispanics playing country music is pretty cool, and that kind of thing. So yeah, we're back at it again, being independent. We're doing our booking as well, and so we're just trying to grind it out and try to compete. Trying to get those opening slots or those low time slots as everybody else in the biz. The bigger guys are getting a lot of that meat. We just want a little bit of that piece of bone.
Just
Give
a
me
little
something,
bit, just
just a little bit, please, man. I'll take it. I don't care.
well.
Um, so yeah, we're back at it.
Well, you're going national, hopefully, with this next album. That's how you're going to be releasing it whenever you release the full album. So let's
Yeah.
just throw it out there, man. If you could open for any artist, dream artists, who would you open for? Even if they're not touring, let's just live in La La Land. Let's just live in this world, fantasy land, where you get to open for whoever you want to. Who would you be open?
The style that I'm going after and the way I kind of approach my live shows. And I saw this on a podcast with Wade Bowen last night. We're not trying to go after and emulate one specific artist. Like, hey, I want to go out and be Garth Brooks. I want to go out and lose my breath running across the stage. I don't think that's me. But I think when it comes down to some honky tonk, like, hell yeah, that kind of thing, I would say Dwight Yoakam. Let me open up for Dwight Yoakam, and we just tear it up. I think it's just so high energy. I just love his music. I love what he does, and it would be him. It would be Dwight Yoakam, and if I could choose another, it'd be George Strait. Kind of give it a different feel. I try to do the opposites. If this guy's really calm, I want to be energetic. If this guy's energetic, I know how to approach that. So it'd be definitely be Dwight Yoakam, George Strait, Garth Brooks, Brooks and Dunn, even.
Yeah.
Those type at that level.
So, was there any artist that because you're known for your live shows, was there any artist that you would look at? Was it like Dwight Yoakam or George Strait that just said, yeah, that's what I want to do as well? Was it something like that, or was just the stage natural for you?
I think dreaming about it for as long as I can think of, wanting to be a type of artist, and then learning that there's already an artist, so you can't be that artist. You got to go out and make your own. I think I've taken a lot of different moments and different experiences, like Garth Brooks. You know, I love the energy. I love his style, and then and earlier in his career, his songs were just great songs. You know, they had story, and then you can pull from George Strait, and you love his like presence that he has. It's just he just catches your eye. Like once he steps on stage, you're glued in.
Yeah.
And then I love the fact that you never know what you're going to get on a Dwight Yoakam show. He could be straightforward, he could sing every note, or he can kind of yodel and make it his own. Like, the Austin City Limits album that he has. That's, he goes from that Bakersfield, south of the border feel, to the honky tonk. So I try to take everything that I've kind of experienced and try to make it my own. And once I feel something that is different, I kind of stay towards that. Even on stage, like if I'm doing something different that nobody else is doing, I'm gonna stick to that because I think I'm gonna find my niche, and I hope I find it. So the stage kind of came naturally. We've had some kind of blow up moments or some bombing moments, but I think that's what kind of helped us, get on there. I remember one time I was opening up for Randy Rogers in Odessa at Dos Amigos. And I would always get after my guys, like, hey, you got to know the notes. You got to know this, you got to perform. You just got to worry about just putting on a great show. And I remember looking at the crowd, and I tried to do something different. And I think I might have looked at somebody in the audience, and I kind of waved, and I did something. And I was like, oh crap, it's time to sing. And so when it was time to sing, I forgot the whole verse. And my bass player's looking at me like talking in the talk back, telling me what the words are. But in that moment, I didn't have them in my talk back in my in ear, so I couldn't. So I'm looking at him like, holy, this is gonna about to bomb. And I was thinking about just stopping the song and just saying, hey, you know what, that was a little fluke. We're gonna do it. But I caught it, and I caught the chorus, and I got in back in the chorus, and then I thought I had it, so I just sang the first verse again, and then went back. It was just a bombing. You're not gonna know who you really are until you're in those moments, and you just hope that you can bounce back.
So I love the new one. I'm glad that we're playing on the station. I want to have a little fun with you real quick in the middle of the
Yeah, let's
podcast
do it.
in order to play a game I call Yes or BS. It's basically true or false. I'm going to say a statement. You're going to let me know whether it's yes or BS. Now, where are you from originally?
Originally, I'm from Austin, Texas, but I was born in Edinburgh, Texas. I was raised in Edinburgh, Texas as a young kid up until college and my adulthood.
Is that near Brownsville?
Yeah, it's about 45, maybe 50 minutes.
Well, my questions to you today all pertain to Brownsville, Texas.
Oh shoot!
Let's see what, yeah, right. Let's see how well you do. Let's see how well you know Brownsville. Let's start with question number one. The first time Brownsville had a recorded account of snow was on Valentine's Day. Yes or BS, Matt?
I'm gonna go with yes.
It is yes. It was on 1895. Brownsville had a snowfall 6 inches. It was on Valentine's Day. It was the first time snow had ever been recording as falling in Brownsville. So you were
Wow.
1 for 1. Let's keep it going, Matt. All right, question number 2. Brownsville, Texas. City motto is run for the border. Yes or BS, Matt?
Oh man, I'm gonna say BS on that.
Total BS. Matter of fact,
Oh,
that is the motto for On the
for Taco
Border.
Bell.
No, not Taco Bell, On the Border. And coincidentally enough, Brownsville doesn't have an On the Border. That's kind of funny.
No.
All
It's
right.
so it's so funny the actual when we were filming the music video Leaving Brownsville Tonight, we wanted to kind of go into the border and then turn around coming back into like almost leaving Brownsville, but we couldn't because the line was just super long. We really wanted to but we passed it, man. It was crazy. The city's right here downtown, and then the border, like you could just cross like back and forth. It's weird.
Awesome.
Crazy.
Yeah. All right, final yes or BS question for you, Matt. Let me ask you, let me tell you, Chris Christopherson was born in Brownsville, Texas. Yes or BS?
I'm gonna go with yes.
Yes. Good job. You're 3 for 3. He was born
Yeah.
on June 22nd, 1936. Ella Walker was also born in Brownsville, Texas. Congratulations, Matt. You are an
Thank you.
ace when it comes to yes. Yes. Matt Castillo is joining me. His new EP, How the River Flows, coming out April 2021. Then he's going to release the entire album later on that year. Matt Castillo, South Texas bred country artist. Thank you so much for joining us on the
Thank you, man.
Thank you
Appreciate
for
it.
joining us today, buddy. I appreciate you.
Yes, sir.